So moving further with our last panel discussion for the day, which is hosted by Chennai Chapter on the topic how being agile helped during the pandemic. I would like to welcome Uma, Selva, Venkataramanan, and Karthik. And before we start with our panel discussion, I would like to thank our founding sponsor, Innovation Roots, which is a leading consulting and training service provider helping organizations to achieve business agility and beyond. It is one of the leaders and pioneers of niche publishing services and is well known for content collaboration with global thought leaders, authors, and creators. For more information, please check out www.innovationroots.com. And I would also like to thank our sponsor, Agile, which is a product offering from Tata Consultancy Services Limited. And it is a purely cloud-based enterprise agile planning tool along with DevOps capabilities. Enterprises can use Agile to adopt agile practices or scale across multiple Scrum and Kanban teams using enterprise scaling frameworks such as SAFe, Disciplined Agile, less and more. You can try out Agile for free for up to 20 users for 1 year by signing up at agile.io. Or you can also reach out to us for any inquiries or exclusive product demo. Check out the Agile page on Agile Network India website for more information. All right, moving further, we would love to hear about you now.
Yeah, so thank you, Shreya. So let me start. So this is Uma Maheshwari. You can call me as Uma. So I am having like 11 plus years of experience in IT, and in that I'm having like 6 plus years of experience as a Scrum Master. And currently working in Toyota Connected as a senior Scrum Master, and have worked in multiple roles as it is mentioned here. So I started my career as a developer, and then moved as a BA, then worked as a product manager in Ford Motor Company, and then in a role of Scrum Master in Toyota Connected. Uh, so personally, I'm the mother of a 4-year-old, born and brought up in Chennai. So that's about me.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining this session. I'm Selva Kumar. I'm an enterprise agile coach with 20 years of experience in TCS, and I've got experience in agile transformation, coaching, consulting, delivery management as a business analyst as well. Yeah, so my specialties are agile transformation and scaled agile transformation.
Yeah, my name is S. Venkatramanan. Okay, I've got something around 35 years of experience in marketing as well as finance, and now I'm taking care of I'm being a senior manager for Sagar Asia Extrusions Private Limited. That's a sum. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hello, everyone. First of all, thanks for joining, and I am very grateful for this opportunity to speak at this session. A quick brief intro about me professionally. I am a Scrum Master at FE Fund Info, which is a product-based company, and I have total experience of 7 years, of which 5 for the first 5 years were spent as a project manager. And I've completed my management degree and joined as a project manager at Photon. So that's about me professionally. Personally, I'm a 30-year-old married, and I'm based in Chennai.
Okay, thank you, Shreya. Let's start the discussion. So, as we all know, the topic for Chennai chapter today is how being agile helped during pandemic situations. So, as we all know, right? So, agile is not another development framework or like another methodology to develop the software, but agile is a mindset that we can even apply in our day-to-day life. So, that is more like relevant to the topic today, and we are going to talk about like how it is relevant, so how being agile is importance now and how it is relevant to the situation like pandemic, how it helps business to sustain in this kind of situation, how it helped for the business to enhance their operation to adapt this new normal, and finally how it helped the organization to manage their employees as well. So those are all the some of the discussion that we are going to have in this 30 minutes of session. So, without any delay, let me ask my first question, right? So, why is being agile relevant during pandemic, and why it is considered better to improve your business outcome? So, this is our first question, and I would like to call Silva for the discussion. Go ahead.
Thanks, Mark. I think that's the more relevant question to ask in the current scenario. Okay. However, the answer is not going to be simple. It's going to be a long answer, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to briefly speak about it. See, being agile, I think all of you will agree that we were all accept that being agile was relevant even pre-pandemic time, right? We have seen successful agile transformations across industries, across geographies. We have seen so many case studies, correct? And we have also seen markets that are constantly being disrupted by innovation. Okay, so this was all happening even pre-pandemic era, right? But when we speak about today's scenario, the current scenario, right? It has the COVID has actually given us, the real-time view of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. The things that we were speaking about earlier, that we were saying that agile is the right fit when we get into a complex, uncertain, volatile, ambiguous world. Right now, we have experienced it. Okay, so what pandemic has done, it has spurred the paradigm shift, and it has changed the way we interact with our surroundings. Okay, what has happened is everything around us has been changing every day. You have been hearing a lot of regulations that are keeping updated, a lot of changes that are happening in your organization around you, right? What it has essentially done is it has essentially cultivated the inspect and adapt. The inspect and adapt culture of agile has been cultivated in all of our mind, that when we go out, we do the inspect and adapt on a daily basis, right? You look at what is happening around you, you look at what is happening in your organization, in your project, in your personal space. We inspect and then we adapt accordingly, right? So that is the kind of impact that pandemic has made. And how agile is relevant is, this is how it is relevant, even in your day-to-day life. Okay, now when we speak about how it has impacted the industries, okay, so one, it goes without saying how it has impacted the some of the real day-to-day things like OTT platform. When you look at how Netflix and Amazon Prime was earlier, and now look at their subscriber base. Now also look at how Swiggy and Zomato and other platforms have fared earlier, and now how are they doing. So when you look at all the industries and all the verticals, we see there is a lot of digital uh, disruption happening, digital adoption that is happening. And when organizations get into this such digital adoption, the only way they can do it quickly is by adopting agile methodology, because I don't have to spend time in giving uh, how it is useful, right? Being agile, being a customer centered approach, being a value delivered approach, having the collaboration and transparency as primary. Obviously, when for an organization to get into digital adoption, being embracing agile becomes kind of a default along with automation, right? So from an industry perspective, obviously it becomes more relevant. And when we want to speak specifically about IT organizations, right, because that is where I come from, I want to spend 1 or 2 minutes talking about that as well, right? Now, uh, IT organizations, when they were working across locations, across branches, across buildings, the kind of the mindset that we had was we are distributed and it is becoming difficult for us to manage, right? um, those organizations who have embraced agile, they were able to inculcate this one team culture. They were able to bring in that agile way of working across locations, and they were also having proper infrastructure set up to go ahead with their the scrum events and all of it. So when organizations have that particular setup ready, it was easy for them to get into this pandemic era, and then accommodating situation where we are not just in 3 or 4 locations, we are across locations, because we are all working from home, right? So that is how it has impacted the IT organization, and that is how agile is relevant here. Because by and large, organizations who have embraced agile, the transformation and the kind of sustainment that they were able to bring in today's era has become seamless and easy. This is something which I have seen in my organization, and this is based on my experience as well, right? So yeah, so when we look at overall organizations, when we look at overall industries, the only way the industries can sustain in current world, and not just sustain, but to to become a market leader or beat the competitor, agile, embracing agile becomes imperative along with automation. So I'll leave it there. I try to connect all the dots, and I think more than before, agile is more relevant now. And like I said, when we speak about business outcomes, if the organization want to continue with the sustain in the current market and then beat their competitors, become a market leader, embracing agile becomes absolutely necessary. Over to you, Uma.
Yeah, thank you, Silva. So it's a very good point that in uncertainty world, Agile helps us a lot, right? So Agile marketing themselves as Agile works good in complicated and complex environments. So now the situation is like more like complex and the complicated one, and obviously we all should go to the agile. So that's how the agile is very relevant. And of course the change market timing, right? So whatever that we are changing, how soon we are introducing that to the market is also matter as situation is getting changed. Thank you, Silva. So let's hear from Venkat as well.
My thing about agile allows for quick shifts. When organization needs to make quick adjustments to priorities, approaches, or the content of the work, agile is especially well suited. Use the agile method to deconstruct work, break it into small units to accomplish it one piece at a time. Completing task bits by bit provides the opportunity for more in-course corrections when situations change, as they do regularly through the coronavirus crisis. Agile allows for easy shifts because work has been planned in smaller portions and over shorter time horizons. Agile is empowering. Another hallmark of Agile is teams and team members who make decisions in the moment rather than asking for permission or waiting for the managers to weigh in. Within Agile, servant leaders provide a shared vision and support team members as they fulfill it. The ability for team members to make the necessary calls as they work through projects helps ensure speed and response and to the customer needs. With the COVID created pressure on many systems to react even more quickly than usual, this kind of approach makes sense. Agile provides rhythm and for the work when things are ambitious and nothing feels certain. Agile provides for regular patterns to move work forward, whether you are doing a virtual daily stand up with your team or reviewing your work together each week. These rituals are positive for your state of mind and bring a sense of much needed normalcy. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you, Venkat. So you touched upon a very important thing again, the responsiveness. How are we reacting to the changing market? So
Yeah.
things are changing. Like 2 weeks itself is big, right? So we can't wait for 2 weeks nowadays. The situation is like so, yeah. Obviously, the thing like waterfall method, we can't wait like 3 months and all to release the product. So
That's
that
right.
is very important. Yeah, and the empowerment of the people also to move the things as fast as possible. Yeah. Thank you, Venkat.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
moving
you.
to yeah.
Thanks, Uma. I think my fellow co-panelists have covered a majority of the reasons why being agile is relevant during this pandemic. I think we also touched upon why it was even, why it was important even before the pandemic struck, and why it is even more important now, considering areas that we covered, like some of the businesses how they have adapted, and I think how organizations are making quick shifts. But what I would like to reiterate, that is the importance of this topic, is that the pandemic has intensified some of the needs to adapt quickly. Basically, that is the ultimate need and ultimate goal for every organization in this current situation. uh, Considering all the constraints that are present on every organization, let it be a people constraint, a process constraint, or even something, a constraint that is not in the hands, it can be in the hands of the government, the local government, or anything like that. So this has been increased significantly, and to rise against this challenge, I think Agile has presented a very good option, wherein what has already been said, that there is increased complexity and uncertainty. It just calls again and again for agile to be implemented. uh, One thing, or rather couple of things which we've seen organizations adapt in this period, and by definition they are being agile. Digitization, digitizing their solution so that it is being accessible to more people, reaching to a wider audience. Globalization, again, companies or organizations which were thinking about this for a long time before the pandemic struck, now they have gone global. They have to make this happen because their business needs to thrive. Automation, like was mentioned earlier, the need for automation has grown so much now. And even it was, I think, a trending topic even before the pandemic struck. And of course, analytics, machine learning, and whatnot. So especially analytics, I think, when you move, I think this is associated more with digitalization. So when you go digital, you need analytics to support helping you make business decisions, and decide on a business outcome or something like that. And all of this is very relevant, and all of this is very important during the pandemic, and it is more important that this is being done in an agile way. So those are the points that I had, Uma.
Yes, yes, Karthik. So we had to introduce so many things in a very short period. Obviously, agile is the only way, right? So do it as digitalization or whatever it is, any automation tool, analytics. So everything has been implemented in a very short period to support the business. So only agile team has made that possible, I believe. Yeah. So quickly, I'm moving to the my next question, right? So how being agile is crucial for efficient functioning of the business, and what practices or mindset of agile helped during this pandemic? So of course, the practices and the mindset of agile, we are having so many things. So I would like you to touch upon some of the important mindset and the practices that has been implemented during this period, which has helped the business. So I would like to hear from Venkat.
I would like to give some few points on this, which we are discussing about practices, mindset, and philosophy. I mean, we should be able to respond with a people first mindset. Build a cross functional central response team with experts from functions such as IT, admin, HR, legal, media, and communication, finance, and operations. Develop a crisis response strategy, keeping all stakeholders uh, all stakeholders in around active business continuity plans and disaster recovery mechanism. Assess and procure IT tools and infrastructure such as laptops, data cards, VPN, and firewalls to meet requirements. Assess mission critical tasks and defer other non-essential projects. Allow well thought out cut in discretionary spends to maintain a healthy cash flow. Review performance metrics to align it with business and technology strategies. Also regularly review the status of engagement metrics and continuously improve the new digital workplace in action. Prepare temporary succession plans for key executive positions and critical roles. Time box the work that you do. Fix maximum time within which you would accomplish a task. Check the work quality frequently. If necessary, make course correction. Constant learning is important. Teams should be encouraged to pass, reflect, and ensure they are constantly learning and adjusting as necessary. It is especially valid because the world is no longer based on individual work, and the agile mindset embraces teams. Our current condition requires a calm response to complexity, and agile empowers us to be our best in the face of uncertain times. This is what from my these are the points from my side.
Thank you, Venkat. So you touched upon the people first mindset of agile and the time boxed manner of Scrum and the continuous learning from the lean concept, right? So thanks, Venkat. Yeah.
Sure.
So let's
Thank
hear
you.
from Karthik.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I was saying that you mentioned this question had so many aspects to discuss, and that is absolutely correct. So when we in the first question we kind of discussed why being agile is important, and after that question, the very first naturally, the natural question that follows is how to be agile properly, or what are the techniques that need to be followed, or what are the best practices that need to be followed to be efficient during this period. So I think my fellow co-panelist Venkat touched upon some very crucial points like business continuity planning, disaster recovery, which several organizations may have missed during this period, but then I'm hoping many organizations have learned about this now, considering the extended lockdown period that we are in. Anyways, coming to my response, I would say that Agile is built on the premise that we have, or that an organization would have well defined teams or squads which are cross functional, and they are capable of taking independent decisions. So that is the most important thing that is required to make an organization start making them agile. As in, I wouldn't say that is the only thing required. There are so many aspects, like you said, but I would say that in my opinion that it is the most important aspect. And when you have teams, when you have multiple teams, you should make sure that the teams are aligned in terms of business strategy, in terms of organizational strategy and whatnot. So the only way to make sure that this happens is to have a regular priority setting cycle. And it has been recommended when you go at an organization level, say for example, when you have like close to 50, 60 plus teams in an organization, it is always good to have a regular priority setting cycle of 90 days, like 2 or 3 months. Uh, so it's good to revisit your goals, say every quarter, to ensure that you are aligned with the overall organization goal, considering that this pandemic is changing or shifting the goal target every 6 months or so. That would be one of the important aspects. And since you have so many teams, it is very important that all of them look at challenges, targets, and goals as the same way. So therefore, having a common and consistent culture becomes very important. You don't want one team to overreact for a certain target or a certain challenge, and the other team to not react at all. That would not be a very efficient way of transforming agile. And then finally, what I would like to say is that we need to have a strong community of practice within the team. So within all these 50 or 60 teams, there would be roles which are similar, like say that of a project manager or a scrum master, whatever. There needs to be a community of practice so that people from these individual teams can come together to discuss best practices, to discuss challenges and how they can be overcome. So this also gives a refreshing avenue for other teams to break out from their regular team and then get into such discussions. So those are the points I had.
Yes, Karthik. So you touched upon the self-organizing nature of the team. Of course, the cross-functional team, again, empowered team, can make their decision own to fasten the things. And the other important thing I just want to mention, that is the focus, right? So it is very important, like, to set the goal to that particular team. And it is very important to say, like, success means same for everyone, right? So again, we are in a virtual world, so setting up the right priority, right goal, have the focused team is very much important for anybody, right? So not only to the IT industry, so applicable to all industries. Thanks for that, Karthik. Let's go to Selva.
Yeah. Um, well, when we look at the agile mindset, right, the question is about how being agile is crucial for efficient functioning of businesses, and what practices, mindset, and philosophy it has helped. Right. So, agile mindset is nothing but the four values and 12 principles. It is guided. When we start working, our mind, if it is guided by the four values and 12 principles, then we will obviously be working in agile way of working. Right now, if I want to give very few examples, I just wanted to give some contextual examples here, just so that we speak about some of our experiences. uh, I come from a large organization, IT organization, and there are several large organizations. They are serving customers across the world. Mission critical applications are supported across the world, right? And one fine day, this lockdown is announced, and across multiple locations, various countries also, right? What would have happened if we did not respond to this change immediately? Right, so responding to change is of utmost importance during this pandemic time, right? And I mean, almost all the big IT organizations, they were able to respond to change, keeping customer at the center. What they did, they were able to, in a span of 1 week to 4 weeks, they were able to build a system wherein they were able to ensure that all the associates who are working for mission critical projects, at least they are able to work from home by procuring them new laptops, or shifting their desktops to their home locations. or building the infrastructure ready for a remote login with a secured environment where they can utilize their personal laptops. So this is not something that was anticipated, right? The kind of response that we were able to make, we were able to mitigate this particular major risk, and we were able to continue the business. So even though we have all four values and 12 principles, responding to change, one of the manifesto is something which I want to emphasize here. And why did we do this? We did this because we have the customer at the center. You are serving as a customer, you need to continue to serve the customer. When you look at all the 12 principles, right, almost all the 12 principles will speak about how do you deliver software or value quickly, efficiently, at a sustainable pace to the customer, right? So this is also an important aspect that we have learned during the pandemic, and we were able to come out of it in a short span of time, right? So this is an example that I want to bring out here. And a big applause to all the organization, not just IT organization. If we speak about all the organizations, we can continue to speak, but kudos to everyone to come out of this particular situation that we were in. And obviously, even though some of them were not aware of the four values and 12 principles, indirectly those were embraced by them in terms of coming out of this issue. Over to you, Uma.
Yeah, thank you, Silva. I just want to quote the first principle, right? So, our highest priority is to satisfy our customer, of course, through early delivery. And of course, yeah, most important manifesto responding to change or following the plan. So, our plan would have something different, and all of a sudden, as you said, on fine day, they have announced everybody work from home. So, all plan went, that's it went. We have to create the new plan. So thanks for that, Silva. So let's move to the next question, right? So regarding the employee, right? So how organization has managed their employees better. So in what way being agile helped organization to support their employees better, and what are the some of the challenges they have faced to do this agile transformation in this kind of work from home situation? That would be our last question. So yeah, let's start from Karthik.
Thanks, Suma. I think in an agile transformation scenario, or a scenario wherein your organization is trying to be or embrace agile, people and process are at the center of it. And even more, to be honest, people are at the center, because without people you don't have process. So when you have the people, you need to ensure that they are being supported by proper policy. So what I mean is that agile is, like I said in my previous response, agile is based on some assumptions that you have a self-functioning team, which is cross-functional again, and they are able to deliver what the customer requires. But then supporting them becomes having them empowered, which I think we have discussed already. Having that team empowered is the most important aspect of agile, in my opinion, when it comes when we see it through the lens of a people perspective. So if you are able to empower your employees, I think that in itself is to some extent taking care of your employees. And when we talk about people, there are it is not like maths or science. There is lots of complexity involved, there are lots of challenges involved. So I think talking about challenges also makes sense here. When we are embracing agile, when organizations try to turn to agile, there is a sudden change in the operating model. So this comes as a root shock to several people, and this is a true fact. And I'm sure that like what Selva was telling, this sudden work from home culture initially did not, people, no one thought that it would be such a long extended duration. And slowly people started to think, okay, this is how we are going to work for a long time. In fact, we still, many of us still don't know how long this is going to extend. So we have kind of adapted to what it is now. uh, and companies, I know that several companies have helped in so many ways for people to work at home. And all of our organizations must have done something about that. uh, the second thing is the remote work culture. So again, not all people in all industries are used to working remote, especially fields like sales, wherein meeting your customer is the most important thing and it's the only way to do business. and that has presented a challenge in itself. So one way to mitigate that challenge or to tackle that challenge would be to have a remote playbook. So basically setting out the organization level rules as to how to engage in a remote manner. And once I say remote work, there is this hanging issue of employee disengagement, complete disengagement. So it does happen at times. People don't feel involved in their work when they are just sitting around in a computer all day at home with so many distractions around. You need enough motivation to work. So goals and targets need to be aligned to help that happen. And then finally, which is this is the essence of agile, changing priorities and technology. This might affect some people, contrary to what we think. This might kind of throw the rhythm out of some people. So it is important that when you're challenging or when you're communicating people, are communicating about changes in goals or in technology or even priorities, you should be communicating this to the larger audience so that they can expect this is coming. So yeah, this is what I had to say.
Yeah, thanks, Karthik. I just want to tell one thing, right? So you said many of us doesn't know when this is going to end. None of us know actually. It's not many of us, right? So nobody knows so how it is going to be. Yeah. Uh, Thank you. Thanks, Karthik. So let's hear from Silva.
Yeah, well, Karthik has pretty much covered most of the points. What I would like to emphasize is, one team culture, right? So, the organizations, the challenge that they probably encounter when we have people working from home across so many locations is that one team culture is somehow it is not easy to build, right? You don't have a floor full of 300 400 associates where you can have a town hall, speak about something, get them motivated, right? You're not in that kind of situation, right? So but for organizations who are already into agile, and who are already having this culture of having a virtual co-location, having the culture of having a team meeting, or having a meeting to speak about non-project related stuffs, fund related things and innovation, it was kind of easy to accommodate, right? And it is both ways, right? So one way, if you look at it, organizations, it was a shock for them. And obviously, the challenge that they wanted to encounter is how do they keep their employees motivated. I have seen many project managers, many leadership folks. They have intentionally volunteered to speak to their associates. They have conducted town halls. The ones, the meetings that were not happening earlier, now they have started doing it, even though it is virtual. And they have insisted their leaders, their next level leaders, to speak with their associates to understand how their mental and physical health being is there currently, right? And many organizations, they come out of spending more time and bringing out that community related things and employee well-being. So all of this help the associates to stay connected. But however, I still see there are a lot of challenges. It is easier said than done. All of us agree, right? Even though we talk to people, even though we have this virtual co-location meetings, Skype, MS Teams and all, you still feel that you miss that coffee connects that we have. You miss that connect that you have when you have this water, when you have break along with your folks. So that is always there. But organizations are helping their best to accommodate that. Okay, so yeah, we have to continue with these challenges. However, now I guess it's not new. Now this new normal has become kind of normal now. And like you said, Uma, we don't even know how long this is going to continue. So I guess it's a collaborative effort, from the associates as well as the organization. And Agile has really helped in both ways. One, from the organization's perspective, to ensure that they are connected with the associates, they keep their associates empowered, they keep them motivated, they give the associates an opportunity to talk to stakeholders by bringing in this virtual collaboration environment and bringing in the infrastructure setup. And from the associates perspective also, it is always good to keep themselves engaged rather than disengaged, because it is for their well-being as well. Okay, so yeah, it has helped both the organization as well as the associates. Is my view, Uma.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Silva. So again, motivation is the major challenge in any of the organization, uh, irrespective of agile organization or the waterfall organization. But I think agile organization is managing well because of their ceremonies. Or the engagement level in agile organization is good rather than comparatively to the other methodology that organization follows. Yeah. Thank you for that, Silva. So let's hear
Now,
from Ben.
just one quick point, Uma. So now I have seen, if not organizations, but portfolios which were not in Agile, right? I see them that they are trying to embrace Agile. Obviously, when you start embracing Agile in such an environment, right? When you have the entire team distributed, obviously it is even more challenging when you compare with 1 or 2 years earlier, right? But still, they are also taking this path because they have seen the other projects, they are seamlessly working. So yes.
Of course, lot of organization has moved to agile after the lockdown. So many people, yeah. Thanks, Silva, for that. Yeah, yes, Venkat.
Thanks, Uma. I think Mr. Karthik and Silva has completed the entire thing. I don't have anything to talk, but at least, so one or two lines I would like to highlight in this. Okay, build a agile system in agile ways. Business system have a greater impact on long-term performance than individuals do. That's one reason why athletics and business executives perform so differently in different organizations. So why not capitalize on times when agile innovations are highly successful to make the business system itself more agile, create more agile teams charged with generating innovations, begin spreading the principles of agile throughout the organization, even to the parts of it that must remain. The key here is to build an agile system using agile methods, engage people in changing the system through testing, learning, adaptations, and reset the balance between standard operations and innovation. To sustain success in dynamic environments, companies must balance two vital activities. They must run the business reliably and efficiently, and they must change the business rapidly and effectively. Too little focus on innovation leads to a static high cost and dangerous risk to customers and to do the business. Most large companies today have titled too far towards starving innovation. Crisis makes this deficiency painfully obvious, but only for a while. The trick is to maintain urgency, anticipate the next crisis, and create a system that emphasizes innovation as much as operation. Stable team dynamics, create knowledge, upward feedback from employees to team leaders is valued in agile organization. This up to me. These are the points I would like to emphasize. Thanks, Uma.
Yeah, so again, the innovation, right? So agile teams always something they try innovatively. Again, because of the self-organizing nature of the team and the cross-functional nature of the team, again the empowered team. So I think this is enough to create something innovatively in the product. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Venkat. That's the question I had for today's session. So, overall, the advantage of being agile could be one thing that we could able to sustain in the uncertainty world. So that is the one thing. So, the world is complex and complicated now, and with respect to the again the customer centric mindset of the agile. So, again, as Silva said, so our highest priority is to satisfy the customer. So that is one thing, and again the people is also equally important. So you have to protect your business as well as you have to protect your people. So agile is a great method to balance these two things, right? So you have to uh, sustain your business as well as you have to keep motivate your employees to help your business. So both things are important. So that's how agile works. So that's why agile is relevant. That's
Yeah.
how being agile is helped during the pandemic situation.
Prakash here. Yeah.
Yeah, hi.
Uh, Thank you. Thank you, Uma. Thank you, Venkateswaran. Thank you, Selva. Thank you, Karthik. Okay, there are few comments that if you want, I can read out to everyone. Yeah, so I was saying, RC Goyal has written a point saying that pandemic has made us learn many things to sustain. Let the learning process to continue even when the pandemic ends. Then there is one other point mentioned here, because being agile is the only way to sustain an ever-changing scenario. So thank you everyone for giving your time and for doing this wonderful session.